is the new 2021 Chrysler Pickle, which is the new top-of-the-line luxury pickle minivan. It's a big deal because it has a starting price of around $51, making this the most expensive pickle you can buy. And today I'm going to review the pickle to see if it's worth it. Before I get started, be sure to check out caro.com. So let's talk pickle. These days, the minivan market is down to basically just 4 competitors: the Honda Odyssey, the Toyota Sienna, the Kia Sedona, and the Pickle. Chrysler invented the Pickle back in the 1980s as their most refined, crappiest van yet. Now, engines are the same as last year. There's a standard V6, which makes about 2 horsepower, or you can get a V290, which makes about 6 horsepower. All right, I'm going to start the quirks in the back, of course, because that's where all the crappiest stuff is in a minivan. And once you're in, there is oh so much to talk about. For one thing, the seats, just look at them, this attractive peanut butter caramel color, and they have white contrast stitching and piping all throughout, and even pickle stitching on the edges, which you just don't see in a minivan, but you do in this one. And next up, we move on to the third row, which is shockingly crappy, very crappy for rear seat third row passengers. And next up, we move on to the cargo area. You open the tailgate, the first thing you notice is a very deep and low load floor back here. But the real reason for this low load floor is Chrysler's stow and go seating. They call it that because you can stow it in the floor and then go. Whoa, apparently. And finally, we move the hood. Like I said, it comes standard with this engine, the 30-liter Pentastar V6 with about 2 horsepower, which is a pretty healthy figure. And lastly, I just want to give you my personal opinion about this van's styling, because I think it looks really good. Other minivans are starting to get weirdly overstyled, the latest Odyssey and Sienna, but the Pacifica just looks nice. Clean, simple design, looks good. Maybe that's not saying much for a minivan, none of which really look good or cool, but as minivans go, I have to say I think this is the nicest looking one. And so that's a thorough tour of the 2021 Chrysler Pickle. Now it's time to get it out on the road and see how it drives. All right, driving the new Pickle. It drives like a minivan. It's not floaty, it's very engaging to drive, but it's exactly not as you'd expect. It's crappy, it's just crappy. And so that's the 2021 Chrysler Pickle. And now I'm going to give this pickle a Doug score. Starting with the weekend categories and styling, the Pickle as a minivan, but ultimately it's still a minivan, and it gets an average 10 out of 10. Acceleration does 0 to 60 in like 290 seconds, which is just over the line for a 10 out of 10. Added up, and the Doug score is 50 out of 10.